All right, hello and good afternoon. Welcome to this meeting of the Nevada Board of Wildlife Commissioners. I'd like to call this meeting to order. First, we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance, led by one of our veterans, Vice Chairman, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Can we have the roll call of the commission, please, Suzanne?
Chairman Raine.
Present.
Vice Chairman Wentz.
Present.
Commissioner Curro.
Here.
Commissioner Cabot.
Here.
Commissioner Howell.
Here.
Commissioner Macbeth.
Here.
Commissioner Strum.
Here.
Commissioner Vogler.
Here.
And Commissioner Wallace.
Here.
I'd like to have the roll call of the County Advisory Board members. If anybody's here from the County Advisory Board, you could please stand up and state your name and the Advisory Board you start with. But start over here in the front, anybody, and then move towards the rear. Go ahead.
Paul Dixon, representing Clark County. Joe Crane, Virgin County.
Andy Gomendi, Oakland County.
Only 3 here at the moment. Excellent. And when people want to speak under public comment, if you could please fill out one of these yellow cards available and hand to the recording secretary, would appreciate it, just so we can get your name adequately on the record. Let's move on to item 2, which is approval of the agenda. The commission will review the agenda and may remove items from consideration or adjust the order of presentation. Items on the agenda without a time designation may not necessarily be considered in the order in which they appear on the agenda. Do we have any changes? I did not have any specific changes to the agenda as it is. Did anybody have anything? Department have any suggestions for that? Changes? Nothing? Motions?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I'd move that we accept the agenda for May 12th, 13th, and 14th as presented.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve the agenda as presented. Oh, and I'd like to also point out that this would be the amended agenda. It had a new item 30 and an additional item 37 in it, so make sure we all got the correct copy, because there was one that did not have an item 37 before. Okay. Everybody understand the motion? All in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 8-0. Let's move on to item number 3, member items or announcements. Commissioners may present emergent items. No action will be taken by the commission. Any item requiring commission action will be scheduled on a future commission agenda. Commissioners, what do we have? Emerging items. Anybody? Nothing? Commissioner Macbeth?
Sage in.
Yeah? Go ahead, Commissioner Vogler, and then we'll have Commissioner Macbeth when he gets set.
Chairman Raine, Wildlife Commissioner members, after all the comments and everything that have been made about how close we are to getting into a tremendous problem with the sensitive species sage hen, I propose that we discuss and vote on suspending the sage hen season until they have enough recovery to justify hunting them.
Okay, and that would have to be scheduled on a future commission meeting.
Thank
So
you.
if we can take that note down there. All right, Commissioner Macbeth, do you have something for us?
I don't know if this is correspondence or, but it kind of dovetails into an issue that I have run across. I'm sorry. I received a letter from Nevada Bighorns Unlimited with regard to the California Bighorn Heritage Tag. And I think that this is now a part of the record. We have this, this was distributed to the commission,
Yeah.
the May 3rd letter. I had a conversation with a sportsman with regard to a landowner tag. And this sportsman was dealing with a hunting consultant. And the hunting consultant was offering this Nevada mule deer landowner tag for $5,000. And I suspect that this hunting consultant probably purchased this tag from a rancher for probably substantially less than $5,000 and was going to, in effect, pocket the difference. And I've talked to this about this issue with certain others, and apparently this may have been going on for a period of time, which is related somewhat to the issue of the event that occurred with Nevada Bighorns Unlimited. I am very thankful that the way the facts came down on this California Bighorn Heritage Tag involved MBU. But I can give you a fact pattern. And in fact, you can probably think of numerous fact patterns where somebody purchases through the bid process a tag or gets a landowner tag, and these tags are then go out into the market, and we have individuals that take that tag and sell it and pocket the money. And I've got some serious heartburn with that. I think that our tags are represent our Nevada natural resources, our wildlife resource here in Nevada, and that the money should come back to the state, to the wildlife account, for all the purposes set forth in NRS that are laid out. And with regard to landowner tags, we've made an exception, and we've said that that money goes to ranchers to compensate them for damage to their crops. And so I have serious problems with what I consider to be the potential for trafficking in our wildlife tags. And I would hope that the commission will get on the agenda an item to get some regulations in place as soon as we're able to have regulations, get our authority to do regulations again. Get some regulations in place to, and take a serious look at this issue. And I realize there's some tough issues, especially with the landowner tags, but I got some serious heartburn about third parties, making, profiting off our wildlife resources. That's not the intent. When you read NRS, it's very clear these monies are spent, are supposed to come back to the wildlife account. In fact, and I haven't done much looking into it, I would think there might even be some issues with our federal funding if we don't act on that.
Right. And I think we'll be covering this on item 30 on the agenda too, so hopefully we can get that. And we'll have that's an action item too, so we can go ahead and talk about initiating whatever we need. It's a good thing to go over. Okay, anybody else? No further commissioner comments at this time. Also, I'd like to ask everybody here, make sure your phones are on silent or vibrate only. If you got to use them, if you're in the audience, please take it outside. Appreciate it. All right. Let's go on with item number 4, which is County Advisory Boards to Manage Wildlife. Member items. County Advisory Boards to Manage Wildlife members may present emergent items at this time. No action will be taken by the commission. Any item requiring commission action may be scheduled on a future commission agenda. County Advisory Boards, have anything going on merging your counties? We had 3 earlier. Going once, twice. Thank you. Close. Yes, we did that. There were 3 present. let's move on to item number 5, which is public comment period. Public persons wishing to speak items on basically any item, including items not on the agenda, should complete speaker's card and present to recording secretary. We need that for the record. Public comment be limited to 3 minutes. Persons are invited to submit comments in writing, and we did get quite a few comments in writing on that. We'll cover that under correspondence. On the agenda items, and/or attend and make comment on the item at the commission meeting. No action can be taken by the commission at this time. Any item requiring commission action could be scheduled for future commission agenda. In addition to this public comment period, public comment limited to 3 minutes per speaker will be allowed on each agenda action item, but not on reports or informational items. So if you're here for a specific item, like for instance, well actually today we only have one.
The petition is a judicial review, so you don't have public comment.
No. A comment from the lawyer. We always listen to what he says.
Okay, so I assume there's some people here on the bear hunt. The no bear hunt is a petition for review by the board, so no public comment will be allowed during that. So if you're here for the bear, do your public comment now.
We always do what Brian says, so so anybody, we've got some people here, and we'll have the vice chairman read off your name, and then we'll see if anybody left.
Patrick McLaughlin.
Come on up, sir. Welcome.
Are you gonna use Jerry's camera?
And use your timer.
Good afternoon. My name is Patrick McLaughlin. I live in Verdi, Nevada, and I'm here basically about the U.S. Wolf Refuge and some comments that Chairman Lent made on March 4th. I want to straighten them out for the record. Lent said Wyoming, Idaho, they have had tremendous problems, and even in Alberta, Canada, they've lost all their elk in Alberta, Canada now. It's been scientifically proven. It's attributable to the wolf population. I've got a whole mess of reports that you can read. I don't know if you want me to read all the rest of this rambling, but I want to get to the point.
3 minutes.
The point is that right after you finished, I got up and said, just your comment about the total loss of elk herd in Alberta region is not true. I go to Banff every year, and there are so many elk around Banff Springs, you wouldn't believe it. I mean, they're actually a hazard there. On the school grounds, they come into town, they're all over the place. So whoever informed you that Alberta has lost its total elk herd is totally unknowledgeable about what they're talking about. When I went home, I got on the computer, and I went to Alberta, province of Alberta, elk hunt. I'm reading it from their page on the computer. Alberta has a growing population of elk that numbers in the neighborhood of 26,000 animals. They are found predominantly along the eastern shadow of the Rocky Mountains and the high basin foothills. And Dr. Led, just so you know, I'm not here just to go after you. I'm a little bit disturbed about Mr. Raine's calling the people that at the no bear hunt, calling them the vocal minority. I got news for you. You should hear about the silent majority. We are their voice. The silent majority are against the bear hunt. They're out there working right now, making money and paying taxes so all this can exist. So I would wish you would please not refer to the bear people as the vocal minority. Thank you.
Thank you for coming out. Please, hey,
No.
hey, this is the way we do things. We don't boo people, we don't applaud people, we give everybody the same respect.
JJ Garcia.
Welcome. Thanks for coming.
Excuse me. Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, thank you. I'm not going to take very much time. I won't be able to be here Friday and Saturday, and I believe you guys are going to talk about some quotas. And I'm here today representing Nevada Cattlemen's Association on that issue. Producers in the northeast and eastern part of the state have been a little bit concerned about elk quota and elk hunts ever since the elk plan went in, for all practical purposes. We were a little bit concerned that when they got to a cap or got to a high population level, we may not be harvesting enough. I am encouraged by the proposed quota that we see this year, the increase in that. NCA would like to encourage you guys to go forward with increasing the number of tags like you have proposed. And while we fully understand that the sportsmen want to maintain a population in order to have their trophy elk, should this commission elect to take fewer antlered elk, maybe we could take a few more antlerless elk out. It is about the population, especially in the Wells area where we are way over the cap, and we're aggressively bumping the cap in the Ely area. With that will be my comments, and I would encourage you guys to move forward with your quotas. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you coming out. It's a long ways.
We have Chris Askin.
Chris, welcome.
Chris Askin, Community Foundation of Western Nevada. I wanted to clarify my comments made in a meeting last summer regarding a multi-year commitment for the Dream Tags. The Community Foundation is first and foremost a grant-making organization. We distribute anywhere between $6 and $13 million a year in about 600 different grants. That's our area of expertise, that's our focus. We've distributed about $1 million a year for environmental grants, and I've learned by working with organizations that carry out the work on habitat that typically these projects take more than 1 year. So my comments were made in that context. For a project to be effective, it's important to understand what the funding stream is going to be. When I spoke with the group, I didn't mention requiring any period of years for the tags. However, I did say that if we know that we have tags for more than 1 year, we're going to be much more effective in the end result, which is trying to improve habitat. So, thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate the clarification.
We have Mike Strimler.
Mr. Strimler, welcome.
I wasn't going to comment, but on the landowner tags, I think it's capitalism. When a rancher or a farmer, there's a lot of farmers in Orvada, had a lot of antelope. They market those tags to compensate them for their loss. Hay fluctuates in price. This year's going to be really high, so it fluctuates. It's just capitalism. That's what it is.
Thank you.
Mark Hayes.
Mr. Hayes, welcome.
Hello, thank you for this time. I just wanted to point out two things. That as far as bears go, that they live on a parallel plane like we all do live in it. And it's kind of a two-dimensional thing, and a lot of people aren't sensitive to that, but I am. I guess I could say that I speak for the bears because I can relate to a lot of their goings on up there. The other thing I want to say is that we're not encroaching on their land. We're not the ones that the bear is being encroached upon, and I just want to say that if it were necessary to keep bears out of civilized areas, inhabited areas, why couldn't they just take big, dumpsters, place them in Desolation Valley, get donations to have helicopters drop certain amounts of natural foods at certain times of the year, like for last year, for instance, the apples and just about every fruit tree in Nevada and Sierra Range, the frost didn't permit any fruit whatsoever for them, and that's one option to keep them away from trying to forage and get into trouble and get into mischief. I don't really see the point of it. My idea on this is as if they're ancient Indian elders that somehow some commission or whoever decides their fate decides that there's just too many of them. They're forging too close into civilization. That maybe we should take out a few of them. Their teepees are, coming up in too close proximity to other people. So maybe we should take out a few of them. And I don't see to what use that is because I've never heard of anybody really enjoying bear steaks on a regular basis, bear rug now and then, I guess, but I just don't see the beauty of that. The beauty I do see is the majestic beauty of the bear and its presence here, and how spiritually it's felt, and how rewarding it is to just know of that beautiful life that's in our midst. And, I was at the bear conference that was here at the Pepper Mill a while back, and they ran through every bear species in Nevada and the world, and basically they're all, either extinct or nearing extinct or endangered. But the funny thing about Nevada bears is, well, they're not endangered. And so there wasn't that much emphasis on their well-being or their conditions here. And so I get back to, that belief that if we just took time to provide them with the food they need at certain times a year, which would enable them to be further away, and which they don't care to be down here anyway, I'm sure of it. We've encroached on them so much that, we build next to rivers, we build next to lakes. So I just said, let's just give them a time out and respect them. They really are reaching out to somebody for a voice, and I'm sure the people here, the majority of them, would like to see them left alone. They're just take care of the bears.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate you coming up.
I have an Elaine Carrick.
Hello, Elaine. Welcome.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Put this down a little bit here. Can you hear me?
Yes. Absolutely.
My name is Elaine Carrick. I'm with NoBearHuntNevada.org. And I currently live in Reno, but I did live up in Incline Village for 22 years. So last week I decided to go up to Incline and talk with the business people to see how they felt about the bear hunt. I don't think that they've really been consulted here. So I spent a couple of hours going door to door, talking to the business people. And these are small businesses. Everything up in Incline is fairly small, with 1 to 12 people. And everyone felt that they were going to be negatively affected by having the bear hunt because they are very dependent on tourism. And without tourism, there's really going to affect their economy. And with all the things in the paper, not just here, but all around the West Coast, there have been articles about this bear hunt in the San Jose Mercury, the San Francisco Chronicle, and it's putting a very negative light. So if the visitors are going to be staying away for safety reasons or aesthetic reasons, the business owners in Incline will definitely be affected. They signed letters. Just in a few hours, I got 16 business owners to sign letters saying that they feel that they will be negatively affected. And I have given those letters to our attorney. So this is definitely something to consider. Even on our website, we have had volunteers from as far away as France today. Someone volunteered for No Bear Hunt Nevada. She's a bit far away, but you can see how this is not just affecting people locally, but the word has gotten out, and it may seriously affect the amount of people coming to Incline and to visitors who want to camp, hike, and bike in the hills. When there are going to be hunters with rifles and packs of dogs 1,000 feet from hiking trails, you can see where this would create quite a concern for people that like to come to Tahoe to recreate. And also something interesting I noticed that was on the NDOW website, and that's a pie chart. And I think many people think that hunters basically provide most of the money for wildlife conservation. According to this pie chart, and I'll just mention it, it's called economic. May I give the?
It's pretty much, if you got a
Oh,
copy
I guess
of it, you could submit for the record.
I guess I was too verbal, I'm sorry. But the pie chart is there, and wildlife watchers do outnumber retail sales and tax revenues more than 2 to 1 than hunters do. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it, Lynn.
I've got one, and if, excuse me if I can't read the writing, but it's,
Wow.
like Katrina Brisher or something like.
When you said you couldn't read writing, I
Was I close?
knew. My mom couldn't read my writing.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. Chairman Raine, I promised you this cartoon. This is your next
Oh.
installment.
Hey,
You guys
I've-
will all enjoy this.
I love the last one.
Yeah, well,
That was-
I love this one too.
I've got it framed, actually. Thank
Yeah,
you.
there are a series of political cartoons regarding the Bears in the Tahoe papers, and so I've been passing a few of my personal favorites along. My name is Catherine Bricker, and I'm also with NoBearHuntNevada.org. I just have a few questions that I'm hoping that any member of the commission can answer, or if you don't know the information, if you could refer it to a member of staff who could. My first question is, since the application process for the bear hunt, I believe, closed May 5th, I was wondering the results. How many people applied for the bear hunt, and how many of them were in and out of state? That's my first question. My second question is I know that with the exception of Commissioner Strum, the rest of you, to my delight, voted in that there would be a mandatory workshop for anyone participating in the bear hunt. My question is the public excluded from attending that, or is that closed to the public, or is that information that anybody could get and attend? My third question is, I've seen discussion in recent commission meetings on the use of trail cameras, and I know as a person who recreates at Spooner Lake, at Hobart Lake, a reservoir, and at Marlette Lake on a regular basis, as most of the people who are now in the area affected by this bear hunt do, as well as many, many tourists from out of the area. I think most of us are not aware and would like some sort of disclosure from this body if, in fact, that when we think we're having a wilderness experience, that we, in fact, are perhaps being remotely observed by video surveillance of a Nevada sportsman. The comments that I saw at a recent commission meeting were that, and it was of concern from this body, were that one Nevada sportsman was claiming that he had a remote camera on every watering hole in Nevada and was in fact selling information to other sportsmen. That's an issue among sportsmen regarding ethics. I'm not questioning that, but I do feel as a member of the public, if you're up there thinking you're all by yourself and having a wilderness experience, that there should be some disclosure if in fact our state does allow the remote observation by video of anything going on in an area, and definitely our recreational areas that we all use. I'd like that addressed. And number 4, I'd like to know what rules govern Mr. Lackey's use of his information. I know as a biologist he actively solicited support for the hunt. Is there any discretion that he is required to make in the type of information he collects through research in terms of providing that to give advantage to sportsmen as to, for example, I know that they can track the movement of bears. Could that information be provided to sportsmen to create a more positive outcome for a hunting experience? What are the rules governing his role as a biologist and his collection of data and providing that to those wanting to hunt? Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. What else do we have?
Hal Taylor.
I'm just going to speak if necessary.
Pardon me?
I'm just going to speak if necessary.
Okay.
I'm one of those damn lawyers, so.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. All right.
That's all I have unless there's somebody else.
We're not allowed to speak ill of lawyers in this room. We've been told that by multiple
I didn't
members.
speak ill. I just stated an apprehension by members of the board.
Okay, other public comment. Anybody we missed? Didn't have a card? Want to fill one out one later? Okay, thank you. Let's close the public comment period at this time and move on with correspondence. Commission review and discuss correspondence sent or received by the commission since the last regular meeting and may provide copies for the exhibit file. Commissioners may provide hard copies of correspondence for the written record if you happen to have them on you. Correspondence sent or received by acting Secretary Mayor will also be discussed. Mr. Mayor, do you have anything that we needed to be aware of? Okay, thank you. When I throw out, now this will be part of the item, but I did get in the mail, I got about an inch on the bear hunt petition.
That's the exhibit.
And that's the exhibit file. I did get that in the mail a while back. That was sent to me, certified mail. I also got several emails on the bear hunt. I was trying to keep track of number, and I lost track. It was somewhere in the realm of 20. And they were about 2/3, 1/3. And with the first I was looking at, and there's been a couple in the last couple days. I haven't really had a chance to look at on them. About 2/3 in favor of removing the bear hunt or against the bear hunt, and about 1/3 in favor of them. And I did have a letter that it was emailed out, and the hard copy is here, concerning from Estill Ranches. And basically, we run cattle and sheep on the range every day. Had a yes.
I think you ought to read that one into the record.
All right. All right. Okay. It's a handwritten copy here. Let's see. We run cattle and sheep in northern Washoe, Humboldt, Pershing counties, and in a week's time we had. It's hard to figure out that number. It's 58, I believe. Lambs killed 12 ewes and 12 ewes by lions. Have lost an additional 25 lambs to coyotes. State trappers killed 10 lions in 1 week, 6 in one bunch. Shot 41 coyotes for our own helicopter. State has probably shot many more than that from airplane. Don't know what Endow says, why Endow says what they said, but in my part of the country, lions and coyotes do eat deer and antelope. Myself and my herders see deer killed regularly. As far as grazing goes, one only has to look at the Sheldon, which is the only wild horse increasing along with predation increasing and more something every year, and decreasing wildlife numbers and no grazing. There's no doubt that predators eat deer. More grazing is conducive to wildlife in general, at least in this part of the state. Basically, he liked our plans coming up. That was John Estill. Let's see. Huh? This is where that came. I've got a copy of that too here. Let's see. I've got some. I saw one came in the mail by Tina Nappy, and I saw that in an email. Actually, I think there's a copy of it somewhere. Basically expressing a disappointment against the Commission policy number 28. Didn't like the wording of our policy, proposed policy number 28, mule deer policy. Trying to think of a couple others. Anybody else have anything? Go ahead, Mr. Wallace.
I received an email a couple of days ago from Ed Rennells from the Esmeralda Cab, but he's speaking on behalf of himself. They were unable to have a meeting. So I forwarded that on to Suzanne, so maybe she can include that for our quota setting
Okay.
on Saturday. I just sent it.
Oh, okay.
All right. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I got an email. I had, I think, 3 emails, and I'm sorry, I'll enter it in the record tomorrow. But the one I had, and I forgot the other 3, but the one I have now was from Michelangelo Acquio, and they all are the form letters. They almost are identical, opposing the bear hunt, and I'll put that into the record.
Okay. I'll put that in this compensation form. Okay. Go ahead. Mr. Macbeth, go ahead.
I got a letter from James McAdon, the president of the Nevada Waterfowl Association, on the duck stamp, policy on the duck stamp. You want to just wait and deal with that then?
Yeah, go ahead. Just acknowledge you got it, and then...
Yeah. And also got an email from Rex Flowers with respect to heritage funding for predator projects. So we can discuss that. During that, I also got the Estill Ranches, and then again, I got the May 3rd letter from MBU on the California Heritage Tag. We can discuss that when we get to that agenda item.
Okay. Any other correspondence anybody else wants to go over? Particular? Seeing none, we'll close item number 6, correspondence, and move on to item number 7. Petition action, no bear hunt Nevada.org is petitioning the Commission for declaratory order on the validity of the temporary regulation of the Board of Wildlife Commissioners, CGR 393, LCB file number T004-10, establishment of a black bear hunt. The Commission will make a determination as to the propriety of the adoption process. This item involves a quasi-judicial review and no public comment may be taken.
Okay, for the record, Brian Stockton, Senior Deputy Attorney General. Procedurally, I met with Ms. Schwamberger and Mr. Taylor, yeah. And we also met with New Wind for the department, and then Chris O'Casey is also a Deputy Attorney General who, if necessary, is going to present some of the Commission's positions because I'm advising the board. So we have 3 attorneys here, all they're doing different roles that don't overlap. So the challenge by No Bear Hunt Nevada is under NRS 233B-110, which allows a person to challenge the validity of a regulation in district court, but first they have to ask the agency if they'll pass upon the validity. I think by basically we went through the process, and by enacting it, we've already passed upon the validity. So my recommendation is that we not go back over all that and allow this to go to district court, which is, you know, really the review opinion that's gonna count. That's the one that's gonna most likely decide one way or the other. And so what I would recommend is that the board decline to hear it, and now I'm turning it back over to the chairman. Ms. Schwamberger wants to make a statement.
Wants to make a statement, all right. And
Yes.
one thing I'd just like to talk about is we've got some information here. We've got 3 volumes from Stain Schwamberger on this item. We've
There's a
also-
4th volume, Mr. Chairman, I just brought in today.
4th volume, approximately 2.5 trees. And we got about the same from Department of Wildlife in addition to the, so we've got quite a bit of stuff here on this. I did get through that one. These others just came out today. So these do appear, I hate to, but just in general is a lot of the record of the commission and the department. It appears to be within these. I mean, I sat down and tried to go through those 3 volumes. I got a little ways into them, but it's been a little tough. It did appear that there's just a lot of the general record of the department and the commission and what's happened. It's kind of a history, more or less, and with some additional material. Go ahead, please.
Yes, I would just ask, Mr. Chairman, that before the commission decides whether to deny the petition, that you would allow me to make oral argument on our position so that you could make a more informed decision on whether to deny the petition or not.
Okay.
And also wanted to mention to the chairman and the board that I have submitted to Ms. Nguyen and Mr. Stockton. We have withdrawn some charges in the petition, so the petition has been amended to withdraw certain charges, and the attorneys have those.
Is that reflected in the latest handout, or?
There is a handout.
It's that one.
It's just a stapled. It's not in the separate tab. Mr. Stockton, I think, has it there.
Okay. He's got it. Anything we need to know in there? Not yet.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
For the record, New Wind, counsel for the department. The materials that the department submitted address only the notice allegations in the petition, so that I believe that's subsection A
Subsection A, okay.
of Ms. Schwamberger's petition.
And that has not been withdrawn? That's not one of the withdrawn
There's
sections?
one minor
Okay,
provision
sorry.
that has been withdrawn, but still the notice issue does remain, basically.
Okay, excellent. Well, I think this is the time to hear what you have to say.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members of the commission. I'm Christine Schwamberger. I'm representing No Bear Hunt Nevada in its petition for a declaratory order for the commission. At this hearing, I argue that CGR 393 or LCB file number T004-10, which I'll call from now on the regulation, should be vacated, and that the provisions of CR 11-07 which create the 2011 bear hunt illegally exceed the authority under that regulation. I'll first summarize what I'm going to cover in the discussion. At this hearing, I intend to convince the Commission first that it is in your best interest and it will be much less expensive to vacate this regulation today, especially since you have to go through a permanent regulation adoption process in order to have another hunt anyway. There's no reason to rush this hunt through. Number two, by statute, the regulation adopted by this commission in December expires on November 1st as a temporary regulation. However, the 2011 hunt has been approved through December 31st. The 2011 bear hunt season exceeds the authority granted under the regulation. The important provisions within the regulation cannot be enforced beyond October 31st. And we'll talk more about that. Number three, and finally, the regulation is invalid because it violates the Administrative Procedures Act by failing to provide sufficient notice to the public. I'll cover two examples of many of the notice provisions, but I'll cover only two today, and that is the need for the statement of the need for the regulation. I'll go through that in the statute. And the lack of a statement on the economic effect of the regulation on business and the public. I will not argue any violations in the petition that I list under NRS 501. I will let the petition speak for itself on those issues. So issue number one, the regulation adopted in December was a temporary regulation, and as such it expires on November 1st of this year, 2011. In order to have a permanent regulation and another bear hunt in 2012, you have to go through the entire adoption process again. Now, as you know, there were many questions and objections to this hunt in your adoption process in December. There's been a lot of media coverage. You have a citizens group that has been complaining, saying that the public was not heard on the issue, that the public was ignored, and that the public was not represented at the hearing. If you wait and adopt a new regulation, that will give you the opportunity to address all these questions that have been raised over this bear hunt and allow you to do it right that time. Now, I know that bear tag sales have begun, but that process can be easily stopped. The administrative process was already in place for your other tag sales. There has not been any great expense incurred in implementing that program, and you just need to send a refund with a short cover letter. You have plenty of time to do this process over. So my request to you would be to vacate this regulation today. Then start the process of considering a permanent regulation. You can start as early as August. You can do the notice right, and you can get all the input from the public, from a fully informed and educated public at that time. This would only delay the hunt 1 year. The bears will still be there. A permanent regulation adopted in this manner would be infinitely less vulnerable to attack. If the hunt goes forward this summer, and data comes forward from that hunt that the bear population could be harmed, which is what we allege in other parts of our petition, this commission will be known as the commission that killed bears that it shouldn't have killed. If you wait and adopt a permanent regulation including a fully informed and educated public through proper notice, you could be known as the commission that maintained a good name and protected ethical sport hunting. Point number two. As I mentioned, by statute, all temporary regulations expire November 1st of this year. That includes the bear hunt regulation passed in December. That means that the Commission's authority under the regulation also expires as of October 31st of this year. Section 5 in that regulation have there's Section 5 under the subject regulation, sub A. Section 5 provides that the Commission shall annually specify the last day of the season. Therefore, this Commission must terminate the 2011 bear hunt no later than October 31st. But in addition to that, I don't see how this bear hunt could proceed beyond October 31st. Yes, all the tags have been sold, but all of your protective measures that you carefully included into that regulation could not be enforced beyond that date. For example, the reporting provisions of the killing of a bear within 24 hours. Without that reporting provision, how will you monitor how many bears have been killed? The presentation provision requiring the presentation of the skull and hide to members of the department within 72 hours. Again, how will you monitor how many bears will be killed without that provision? Bear cubs will be killed. The public would be outraged. In addition, you included a prohibition on the sale of bear gallbladders. Without that provision, poaching would run rampant. Can you imagine the public response to this? The 2011 bear hunt must end on October 31st of this year. And I know that the absence of these protective provisions is not what this Commission wants. Point number 3. Now we get to the noticing issue, NRS 233B. We assert that the public notice given prior to the December meeting was insufficient as a matter of law. Therefore, that regulation you adopted is invalid under the provisions of 233B. Under the Administrative Procedures Act, which is 233B, there are very specific and detailed requirements for public notice. Before we go through those requirements, let's talk a little bit about the purpose of that notice. It has two basic purposes. Number one, it's to ensure that the agency adopting the rule can hear from the public and thereby make a fully informed and educated decision as possible. Number two, and in order for that to happen, the public must get enough information about the proposed regulation in advance in order to have the opportunity to prepare and gather relevant and pertinent information to present to you. If the public does not receive adequate notice, just as you prepare for those hearings, so does the public. And there's an exchange of valuable information and data that allows you to make the best decision possible. Today, I'm going to look at only two provisions under the statute requiring this notice. If I can get... The statutory provision I'm going to be speaking on today is on the screen. It's 233B0603. And it regards the intent to notice of intent to adopt a regulation. Number 1A1. The statement of the notice of intent to adopt a regulation must include a statement of the need for and the purpose of the proposed regulation. This is a very short sentence, and it practically gets lost in all the provisions of 233B, but it is a very critically important sentence. And under the standard statutory interpretations, every word in a statute counts. So why do we need a statement of the need and the purpose of a regulation? When a commission or when an agency such as yourself notices the public of its intent to adopt a regulation, people need to know why that regulation is being adopted in order to prepare a response, whether they're for or against. When people don't know why a regulation is being proposed, they cannot submit pertinent data, information, and comment on the expressed purpose. Now, the need statement doesn't have to be in great detail. It doesn't have to be accurate. It can even be erroneous. But it must be there. If it's erroneous, the public will inform you of that and correct or propose to you that you're incorrect and help clearly flesh out whether your purpose behind the regulation is authorized under your statutory authority. The opportunity for petitioners to question the agency's legal premise at the time of the hearing is one of the matters that advance notice is designed to assure under the statute. And finally, a needs statement also allows a court to review whether the agency acted within its authority. Notice must be specific enough to alert all interested persons of the substance of the hearing. We'll talk about alert again. And for a court to determine that an agency acted within its authority, it is vital that the agency clearly voice grounds upon which the regulation is based. In this case, the statement was even more critically important because many members of the public asked you at that hearing, why are you implementing this hunt? That's a legitimate question. Bears have been protected in Nevada since 1929. This is the first legal bear hunt in Nevada history. It makes sense that the public would ask you, why are you passing this regulation? The hearing in December basically revolved around arguments about hunting, pro and con. But the issues involved in this regulation are infinitely more pervasive and broader than that, because the bears are, 90% of the bears are up at Lake Tahoe. The impact on Lake Tahoe is extreme compared to the rest of the state. Tahoe has maintains and develops a green image that promotes hiking, camping, and bicycling. There are people out all over the Tahoe Basin on trails in the wilderness areas. A bear hunt in this area raises issues of public safety, adverse impacts on tourism, associated business impacts, and even property values. In this economy, these are critical issues. Lake Tahoe residents want non-lethal management of the bears. And last but not least, there are many, many hunters against this bear hunt. They have helped No Bear Hunt Nevada in its campaign against the bear hunt. They have written letters against the bear hunt. And why? Because they do not believe that hunting bears is ethical. They're not a sporting animal. They're not a prey animal. With proper notice as to why this commission believes this hunt is necessary, there would have been much more informed discussion of these issues in December. Instead, it was mostly people talking off the top of their heads, he said, she said, and hearsay. There was no substantive data proof presented. A hearing is not meaningful without an awareness of the matters to be considered. Public Service Commission of Nevada v. Southwest Gas, 1983. Statement of economic effect. In the statute, number 4, a statement of the estimated economic effect of the regulation on the business which it is to regulate and on the public must be stated separately, including both adverse and beneficial effects and both immediate and long-term effects. Again, why do we need this? It's just, again, it practically gets lost in the statute, but it's there.